Hello, my name is Jim. Welcome to my booktube channel about books and reading and stuff. In this video, I want to look at the books I rated 5 stars this year. Of the 66 books I read, I would say 16 were worthy of 5 stars. 5 stars for me is a book that I thought was exceptional, outstanding, and I really enjoyed it. This is my notebook. If they got an orange dot, it means these books are new to me. The first book is Sword of Kaigen, which I finished on the 13th of January. It's by M.L. Wang, 651 pages long in the fantasy genre, and this I gave 5 stars to. It's interesting that the first book I should have finished in the year may be the best book I've read all year. I did a separate review of this, I'll link to that here. Again, I read Where the Crawdad Sings by Delia Owens. This was good, but this was a 4-star read. Remarkable Creatures by Tracy Chevalier, about the first fossil hunters. Bon Voyage, Mr. President, Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And then a second 5-star read was Solitary by Albert Woodfox. This was an autobiography. Albert Woodfox was a member of the Black Panthers, and he was imprisoned in Louisiana State Penitentiary for over 40 years, most of the time in solitary confinement. This is because he was accused of killing a guard, which wasn't true. He wasn't an angel, that's for sure, but it was more because he was a Black Panther that he was kept in jail and in solitary confinement for so long. Then I read Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. This was a children's book, which I hadn't read in my own childhood. Then another 5-star read was Akwaeke Emezi's Freshwater. Akwaeke Emezi is a Nigerian American, and they are non-binary. This book was about a girl who was possessed by a demon, or maybe she was schizophrenic. It wasn't very clear. It was quite unlike anything I've ever read, but it was an amazing book. Then I read Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. 28 Cries, a collection of flash fiction by Mark Nash. Strong Poison by Dorothy L. Sayers, who was a favourite of my mother. Meridian by Alice Walker. A lot of these writers were new to me. If they got an orange dot by them, they were new to me this year. Noir by K.W. Jeter. This is the first I gave 3 stars for. There were a few times where I almost DNFed it. It was an interesting book as a cyberpunk book, but I really couldn't get into it. It was too nihilistic. Then Clive James, the broadcaster, Play All, about all these series we watched. Binti by Nnedi Okorafor, another Nigerian American writer. Then Villa Pacifica by Kapka Kasabova, an author from Bulgaria, and this was set in an eco-resort in South America. Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Again, I did a separate review of this. This is the longest book I've read this year. It's a book that's been on my want-to-read list for a long time, and I've DNF'd it a couple of times, but this time I managed to get through to the end. Then we have Kitchen by Manane Yoshimoto, a Japanese writer. I think she's the first Japanese writer I've read who isn't Uraki Murakami. Then The Bone Jar, S.W. Kane, a crime thriller. Most of these books I gave 4 stars to. The Dead Stay Dumb, James Hadley Chase, was just a 3-star gangster thriller. The Pear Field by Nana Ekftimi-Shumili is Georgian literature, but it was a difficult read. Then there's The Watcher Girl by Minka Kent. This was the first book I got from NetGalley. Well, not really book, an e-arc. These you can get before the publication date, and the idea is you get a free e-arc, and in return you leave a review or several reviews, and this is a good read. Then Return to the Enchanted Island by Johari Ravolson. This is the first book I've read by a Malagasy author. It wasn't very impressive, but there's very little translated from Malagasy into English. Stuff by Randy O. Frost and Gail Steletsy. This is about the psychology of hoarding. In Dark Water by Lynn McEwan. This was the second NetGalley e-arc I got, and this was 5 stars for me as a police procedural. I really got back into police procedurals this year. It's very much a comfort read for me, something I really enjoy reading. Little Brother by Ibrahim Balde was a memoir of a man from Guinea who travelled across the Sahara Desert and finally got into Europe, and the difficulties he met on the way. He was looking for his little brother, as the title might suggest. Winter Loon by Susan Bernhard. This was a coming-of-age novel set in wintry Minnesota, and this was brilliant. This is a 5-star read for me. But then The Thames Path Killer by Bieber Pierce was a bit disappointing, so I just gave this 3 stars. Scarlet Sins by Dane Cobain was a collection of short stories and also song lyrics. And Migrations by J.L. Torres. This is an author from Puerto Rico. Georgia and the Mountains of Poetry by Peter Naismith was 5 stars. This is probably the best guide to Georgia, the country where I'm living. Mary Barton. This is the first book I've read by Elizabeth Gaskell. It was also her debut novel. Atomic Habits by James Clear. This I listened to on audio. And Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This was a reread. I don't usually reread, but I enjoyed this the second time. But I don't think I got much more out of it the second time than the first time, which I also really enjoyed. And finally, on the first page, A Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin. Fantasy YA. And I think I'll leave it there. This is the first part of my reading of the year and my 5-star reads. So that was my reading for the first part of the year, including some of the 5-star books I read. If you enjoyed this video, you can like and subscribe below, and I'll see you on the next video.